Hey guys, and welcome to the Hunting for Tips live stream. I sound a little rough. I'm getting over a cold, but I'm here with my friend James Holm from the Scrape Doctor, and he has a company that makes mock scrape products, and he's on the phone with me. So I hope you guys can hear okay, and we're just gonna sit down and have a chat about mock scrapes and how to do them and where when they're most effective and all that kind of stuff. So, James, I want to say hi and welcome to the live stream.
Hey, how we doing today? Appreciate you having me on. Anytime I get a chance to sit down and talk about deer and deer hunting, and then of course, mock scrapes in particular, that it's always a good day for that. So we can uh, we can definitely do that, and let's enlighten some people. Let's talk about this.
So, first off, let's talk about the Scrape Doctor company itself and products and things. I'm brand new to the scrape game. This is my first time using Scrape Doctor because me and you became friends on Facebook, and I had a hard time trying to inventory the deer on my property this year, which is why you said, "Hey, you need to try Scrape Doctor and use mock scrapes." So I guess let's start there. So let's talk about Scrape Doctor, the company, and all that stuff.
Well, I am the scrape doctor first
Okay.
off. So, and the company itself, we produce hemp ropes and another vine product that we call the poison ivy that's built more like a real grapevine. It's very rigid and heavy, pretty substantial, honestly, as far as a vertical mock scrape application goes. Probably the stiffest on the market, truthfully, and heaviest. And then we have our synthetic preorbital gland scrape magic, which is it's exactly that. It's a synthetic preorbital gland that's designed to communicate and pattern deer like nothing else on the market, truthfully. I've used a lot of stuff over the years, and I've honestly never used anything that I've gotten reaction like this. It's why it has the name it has. We were trying to figure out a name, my wife and I was going through videos and trail camera pictures. And I just kept looking, and I just kept watching these deer come to the ropes and the poison ivy, and I just looked at her and I said, "This stuff it just works like magic." I said, "That's it. That's the name, Scrape Magic," and it stuck, and it's true. So we've got that, and then sorry, I got a little sidetracked on that one, and then we've got our Estrus RX, which is a synthetic urine, estrus urine. I am not personally a big urine user and person. I don't promote it real hard. I developed it and brought it out for the guys that wanted urine, that always need it and feel like they have to use it, and that during the rut they have to have it. Guys think they need it, and that's fine. We're happy to give it to them and bring them something that works great. So that's the story of the Scrape Doctor. Started this thing. This is now our third full season, and fourth hunting season, but third season running. Been a whirlwind. It's gotten better and better as we've gone along. Business is good. We're educating a lot of people along the way. We're trying to help people like yourself. And so, yeah, that's the gist of that part of it, the Scrape Doctor itself.
So let's go to the the basics. What is a scrape and what is a mock scrape? Let's start there. And
Well,
okay.
a scrape that you find in the woods is a scrape that a deer has already made. A buck's already made it at a natural licking branch, wherever that may be in the woods, whether it's a logging road, in an apple orchard, or wherever you may find that. Whereas a mock scrape is a scrape that never existed until you walked up and ruffled up the ground and either hung a rope in the branches or hung a wick or hung a drag or hung whatever you hung, or sprayed those branches with whatever you're using. If you're not using scrape doctor stuff, that's the difference between the mock scrape and a scrape. Is one's real, one's not. Mock scrape is artificial. It's completely man-made, intended for the sole purpose of fooling a deer. There's no other reason for it than to trick them into thinking that's another deer that's made that scrape.
What does a scrape do? Is it like communication? Is it like
Okay, let's differentiate. Let's talk about the terminology about a mock scrape. Everybody, as soon as you say a scrape, everybody looks at the ground. The scrape is down on the ground. You know, the true important part of any scrape, whether it's a natural one or a mock scrape, is the licking branch. That scrape on the ground, excuse me, we got some crud going on around here too.
oh yeah.
It's the licking branch is what matters. That's where the communication happens, is in that branch. That's where they're jabbing that preorbital gland. That's where they're rubbing that forehead gland. That's where they talk up there. The scrape on the ground is only useful for that magic window, that 2 weeks or so, from October, we can go even October 25th, 6th, through mid-November. That's the sweet spot. That's that sweet November that everybody likes. That's the hot spot when the rut's hot, the bucks are running everywhere crazy. So that is the. I've lost my train of thought here. Daniel, help me out.
That's the basics of a scrape.
Yeah, the scrape and the licking branch is where you're going to want your focus. These deer are going to only scrape at the ground in that window, that hot spot of the rut. So that's why we're focused on that licking branch. That's where I'm trying to shift the education part of this to that licking branch, because that's what matters. Urine plays a very tiny part in scrapes, truthfully. Deer pee in the woods year-round, all over the woods, not just in scrapes. So there's pee everywhere. You know, if they got to go, they go. They don't go, I got to go, I'm going to run over here to this scrape and go. They just go.
Right.
So that's why the licking branch is the most important part of this, and not necessarily that scrape on the ground. When I open a fresh mock scrape, it's the width of my foot. I kick a spot underneath that licking branch, the width of my boot, and that's it. Down to the bare ground, and that's it. I leave it as it is. I don't do anything to it. I don't put anything in it. The deer will do it naturally.
All right. So one thing that you educated me on was that deer use scrapes year round, not just
Correct.
in the rut, like late October, early November. So can you elaborate more on that? Like,
absolutely. Deer communicate year round. They need to talk to each other year round, just like people do. So they use these licking branches and scrapes and scrape lines as a way to do that. The hemp ropes and things like that give you direct markers where you can hang a camera and know the deer are going to come back again and again and again and again. Natural licking branches get broken off and destroyed over time, and they lose their effectiveness because now there's nothing left there. So if you hang a vine, if you hang a rope, those kind of things, you replace that natural licking branch that has been used up and gone away with something permanent that they can't. I mean, they're not going to destroy it. It's going to be there forever until the rope goes away. So. And that's a really long time. It takes a long time for a rope to go away. And hemp ropes in general are more effective because of longevity over natural grapevines. They hold more scent, they hold scent longer. Natural vines dry out, and the stuff just runs off. It doesn't soak in anymore. Ooh, that's tough.
man, it's been rough. This is the first time Sorry. This is the first day I've actually not coughed all day long. I mean, I do, but not as bad.
Yeah, my dad had it real bad.
So there's different types of scrapes, though, right? Like communal versus
Yeah,
like
oh, absolutely. You've got so a communal scrape is the one that this. I mean, obviously you're looking on the internet just like everybody else. That seems to be
yeah,
the word of the day. Community scrapes, communal scrapes, all of this. So not every mock scrape that somebody puts in the woods is a community scrape. They're just not. Communal scrapes are scrapes that every deer visits either every day or every other day. It's a very, very consistent pattern. It's day after day after day after day at consistent times. That's what a community scrape is. All the deer come. Bucks, does, fawns, all the age classes of does and fawns, all the age classes of bucks. They may visit in one day, they may visit on separate days. They may visit in a rotation on the same day. We've seen all of those things happen. We're using Moultrie cameras because we can gather data with these cameras, just like the Wise Eyes. Only they're cheaper. The cameras are cheaper and they're a little cheaper to operate. So we're giving up a little picture quality, but we're getting the same information gathering capabilities, so that we can put these patterns on paper and show people that here's the visit times at each location, and how many visits, and you know what I'm saying, those things. So the communal scrapes are getting constant attention. Other scrapes that may be scrapes that are on the outside perimeter, I call those satellite scrapes. They're not in the main fray of the action. They're hit frequently, but not anywhere near like your communals. And then you've got rut scrapes, obviously, that open up and blow up all over the place during the rut. And you see lots of those. That happens from the end of October right on through. There may be none there, and you go back the next day and there's 4 or 5 that open up. So rut scrapes, the communal scrapes, the satellite scrapes, and then I believe truly, and in my own, from what I've seen and what I've done with these mock scrapes, there are just scrapes they use solely to let aggression out. They're low level, they're bushes, and they're not up above in the eye level branches where they're raising their head up. They're faced into the bushes and they're thrashing the bushes. Those, I believe, are just flat releasing aggression. They have to have an out to get rid of the anger and the aggression, frustration. It's the rut. I mean, it's pent up sexual frustration. They're looking for does, and they can't find one, and they're angry. So we're gonna rip this bush to shreds. So, and those I call aggression. Just aggression scrapes is all
they are. So when using scents other than the forehead gland scent that you called it preorbital, is that what you said?
The gland, yeah, that's that gland right in the eye, in the corner of their eye. Okay. That's when you see them jabbing their eye up in the stick in that licking branch. That's where they're rubbing, is in that gland. When you see a deer, a buck especially, and he's got dark streaks down his nose, down next to his nose, that's the gland coming out of there. That's from him rubbing that and causing that to secrete.
Yeah. That's the one thing about the scrape magic I've noticed. To me, it smells like deer hair. It doesn't like knock your socks off kind of smell like estrus urine would. Like,
and that's the big surprise everybody gets when they open it. They're expecting that punch in the face that you always get, and that's just not what you get at all.
No, you don't. So when making your mock scrapes, like tools and equipment, like scent control, like do you have to wear gloves, all that kind of stuff, things like that when you're hanging. So
Here's where I'm different than just about everybody else. I don't wear gloves. I don't do any of that. I don't practice a whole lot of scent control when I put up my ropes and things. These deer are used to people. They are not. We are not a foreign smell to them. If they smell you on a rope, it isn't any different than smelling you on a fence post or on a tree when they walk by, or any of that. So now, make no mistake, I'm not telling you that a 6.5 or 7.5-year-old mature 185 or 190 inch buck, that you don't have to treat him a little differently. Am I going to wear gloves and be weird about scent control? Nope, I'm not. I'll be a little more careful with what I'm touching while I'm hanging that rope and the things I'm doing, but I'm not going to be crazy with the scent control. I'm just not. I never have been. And you could follow my picture and video trail all the way back to the beginning, and nothing's changed for me, and the success stays the same. It's continuous. So no, I don't do it. If you want to, that's you. I don't discourage other people from doing things the way they do them. If guys wear gloves, they wear gloves. That's great. I just don't.
right. So me personally, I'm actually running 3 mock scrapes on my property right now. I have the product for a fourth one from Scrape Doctor. I just haven't put it out yet. And the one video I have, because I don't run cellular cam, so I have to go. It's not 50 yards from the house, but I have to go out there maybe 60 yards from the house and pull the cord. But I had that doe come through, which was cool, from the Scrape Doctor product, and she was sniffing around. But a lot of times I've learned or heard from you that a lot of deer won't do the pawing at the ground thing when they come into your mock scrape or whatever. Like they're just naturally curious of what's going on there, at least at first. Like I
It's just not something they do this. It's not the right. I mean, we're starting to see bucks pawing in our scrapes just now.
Gotcha.
And it's the young bucks that are starting to do it. Year and a half olds, 2.5-year-olds, 3.5s haven't started doing any of it yet. So, not that we've seen yet on any of the cameras. Doesn't mean they're not somewhere, but not on our stuff.
Right. And I think what's cool is in the early season, like this, like July, August, September, you're basically trying to create a travel pattern for those deer through the mock scrapes to get them to use them all the time, which is how I'm understanding it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's why you want these things there year round. You don't want to take them out of the woods. When the season's over, don't take it away. Leave it there. Because if you take that away, you've stopped the pattern. They're going to come back a couple of times to check it again, to say, they'll be like, where did it go? Why is this thing not here that was here? Why did that thing go that I've been rubbing on the whole time? So they'll come back a couple more times, and then they'll go off on their merry way and find something else to do. Simple as that. And then to bring them back into that same spot to rebuild that pattern again is difficult. It's already difficult, but then now you've done it and you've stopped it, and now you're going to try to redo it when all you had to do was leave the stuff there, and it continues on all year round. You're not even doing anything. You've not been there now, and now think about this. Deer season ends in January, let's say the 1st of January. Deer season's all over. You stop thinking about that now. Now you, because I pay attention to what you do, you're thinking about fishing already. You're ready to go fishing now. Deer season's over. You take a break. You might go shoot some squirrels, and then you're ready to go fishing. So you've forgotten about your ropes, which is fine and dandy because the deer haven't. They're going to continue to run on these ropes and run this cycle of patterning the whole time while you've forgotten about them. Then you go get your cards because you remember you need to check your cards around turkey season. You check your cards and you go, oh my, look at all these deer on these ropes. I forgot all about them. I better refresh that. So you do, and then bang, it's even better now. So the pattern gets better and better and better the longer that you leave these things in the woods.
That brings me to my next question. How often should you refresh or maintain a mock scrape?
With our scrape magic, I would recommend every 8 to 10 weeks on a refresh. It's not necessary to be in there spraying them all the time because first off, they've done it. All you're doing is taking that scrape magic, starting that mock, and taking off and let the deer do it from there. Move on and let them move on and start another one with some sprays on the bushes like you and I have discussed to lead them into that space. So overusing scrape magic happens a lot. It isn't going to be detrimental. It doesn't scare the deer. It's not going to cause any big issues. The only thing you're doing is wasting. That's all. And I try to get guys to understand that, use it in moderation. I get it. It's easy to start spraying it and give that rope 15 sprays. I get it. I understand. It's easy to do that. But 6, 8, 10 at the most is plenty. Trust me.
Okay. Does weather affect scrapes? And
yes.
Yeah, I guess that's my question.
It does, yes. Heavy, obviously, downpours are going to wash things away. But the thing is, with that is these ropes are now they're in the pattern, right? They've already hit a downpour. The deer were there an hour or 2 hours before that downpour. As soon as the downpour's over, they come back to those scrapes and those licking branches to remark. So the rush to get out to refresh is unnecessary. You don't have to do it. The deer are going to come back and start hitting them again. If you go back out after these huge downpours, which I do recommend, that you refresh. It's not an absolute necessity to get them to keep coming, but I do recommend it because it'll just kickstart keep that activity high. So is it 100% necessary? No. Super long extended periods of drought like we've had.
Yeah.
You might want to, honestly, the 8-week mark, the shorter part of the 8 to 10 weeks is probably better than the long run on it. So only because it does, it's hot, it's dry, it evaporates away. It does, you know what I mean? So, but other than that, the cold doesn't affect anything as far as activity at the scrapes. And mine sit all winter without getting refreshed because most of ours we can't get into. The deer can still travel through the woods, obviously, and run the scrapes and licking branch lines and all of that. We just can't get in because of the snow from the roads into where we got to go.
Yeah. What are the best locations? Active deer trails, or the kind of situation I ran into is the one I sent you a picture of, and I never said this before, is it's actually, I can see the main deer trail, and it's not very far off that main deer trail, but now I've noticed there's a deer trail that's starting to go to that scrape. When I walk back there, it's faint. Yeah. It's not as dark as the one that's there, but I didn't realize it. I put it in the wrong spot. I should have moved it over a couple trees and it would have been dead on that trail. But the deer are actively going to it now, I feel like.
Well, if you can see a faint trail going there, then they are.
Yeah. So generally, what's the good locations for putting a mock scrape out, I guess, is the best place. The question I'm asking.
Obviously, travel corridors are good. If you find groups of apple trees, 3-4 apple trees in a space that, like old orchards, those kind of things, those branches in particular lend themselves well to scrapes because you'll find scrapes in apple trees anyway. So that's those places where you get trails converging, 2-3 trails that converge together. If there's a tree, a sapling or something there with the right branch, I'll make one there. Because now you got all these deer coming from different directions into that one corner, or into that one spot. And a lot of times that's where I'll hang one of our poison ivies. And because they are so heavy and substantial weight-wise, those very often become the communal hub. That's the kind of location I would look for a place to create a communal scrape, is that convergence of multiple trails coming together on a travel corridor. Not necessarily near it doesn't have to be near a food plot. It doesn't have to be any of those things. I prefer to set up away from those to try to get these communal scrapes, because I don't hunt over top of those. And that kind of stuff is how to hunt these scrapes and all that is seriously a whole nother conversation. That's a little bit beyond, the basic stuff we're talking about here, because there's a lot of things that people don't think about when they hunt over their scrapes that they should.
Right, and we can have another conversation sometime, digging deeper into it.
Absolutely.
So, all right, common mistakes guys like me make when we're setting up our mock scrapes.
The two biggest mistakes people make is location and height. Location is probably the second mistake they make. Height is the first mistake they always make. Everybody wants to hang everything way too high. You and I have talked about this kind of at length. Everybody wants the bottom of the rope up near their eyeballs, and that's entirely too high. It needs to be way down by your belly button. All these years, people think these deer are moose, and they're not. They're deer. They're small. They're not big animals at all. No matter what anyone thinks, they're just not. I absolutely never want to see a deer on its hind legs up in my licking range, because I want to keep them on their feet down on the ground. That's them searching for a licking branch that isn't there. They're up there looking for that. They'll do it a few times. They'll do it a little bit, but then they're going to walk off frustrated and make scrape somewhere else. Probably your neighbors.
Right. I put mine chest height. I'm 5'8", 5'9", and if that doesn't go to like between my, like right there in my chest, then I'm not gonna hang it. It's like that simple. Yep. So
I do, and I mean I'm a fan of that window from your waist to your chest is anywhere inside of that. Most all of the deer are going to be able to reach that, and that's the importance of hanging them in that window. You want all the deer to be able to touch them. You want them all to be able to. The fawns can't necessarily work them like a bigger deer will and can, but they can still reach it to sniff it and get their tongue on it and get up there with their face and touch the bottom of it, which is what they do. And that's the point, is to get all the deer to interact, because chances are one of those little fawns is playing around and messing around with that rope and is getting his nose full of scrape magic is probably a button. And chances are he's going to get booted out of there, but that's going to become part of his cycle. He will cycle through that property continually for the rest of his life. He won't live there probably, because he's not allowed to by nature. Also, he gets run off by mom. So, but he's going to come back chasing through there. He's not going to go very far. They're just not going to. Especially in an area like yours. They don't go real far. They just can't.
Right.
So
I never thought about that. Like, you think, oh, a fawn's playing it, but you don't think that fawn's probably a buck fawn.
Huh. One of them, normally when you get a set of twins, one of those is a buck fawn, and it gets right in their head. You get this scrape magic gets right in their brain. It's in their we burn right into their brain, and they can't help it. They have to keep coming back. Well, if you start that when they're a spotted fawn, it's never going to end. It's a lifelong thing. I tell people this all the time. There's two things to stop this pattern. If you take away what you put there, like we just discussed, the ropes, the vines, all of that, you take those things away, or you kill those deer. That's the only thing that stops that pattern. You take it away or you kill the deer. That's it. Them are the two things that stop your pattern.
That's cool. All right, so success stories, and I think we'll end after this one here since I've got a cold still and coughing and everything. So
all good. Yeah, I mean, success stories. First year, 23 confirmed kills is what we had from people, pictures, phone calls, that kind of thing. This past season, we had 39 actually. I just found out about one in this last show that we went to. So the success stories as far as deer dead is phenomenal. First bucks, first deer, biggest bucks, lots of mature bucks got killed all over the country, not just 2 or 3 states, And I don't even, honestly, that's probably what I need to do is count how many states it was. Started last year in Connecticut was the first one, and the last one to be taken was in February in Florida. So first one was in Connecticut or Florida. So we had a lot of first successes, you know what I mean, as far as states. So
I have a side question for you real quick. I have a buddy in Wisconsin who hunts swampland. You're talking about Florida. Are you noticing a difference on scrape behavior or how you have to make your scrapes work in a swampy environment because it's constantly wet or things like that versus where you're at in Michigan, or how does the environment affect, I guess, scrapes, I guess is what I'm trying to ask. As far as
to be honest with you, there's an absolute giant difference between using scrapes in the South and especially the deep South and anywhere else in the entire country, Midwest, upper Midwest, up here, any of that. You're the Midwest. You're in the Midwest.
I'm Indiana.
So the difference between what you've got and what I've got are not that drastic. But the swamp that he's got in Wisconsin, I also have here, and those deer run the edges and the logging roads and all of that, and that's where I would make my scrapes. I'm not making scrapes where there's standing water because neither are they. Gotcha. They might hit a licking branch along the way or a rope where they're standing in some ankle deep water or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they can't make a scrape on the ground. They can't. They're standing water. It's a puddle.
You're right. Yeah.
But as far as Florida goes, Florida in particular is a very difficult state for mock scrapes. They don't like ropes. Blah blah blah. It's horrible to get them figured out. But now we've got them. We've already got them back in the mocks this year. They have not stayed in them down there year round, and I do believe that's entirely to do with the heat. I think they move away from where you know what I mean? I think they change locations completely from where we get them from, like right now, through the winter. So they have a whole different summer range. But the swamp Florida are not like the swamps in the north at all, because first off, there's horrible snakes, spiders, and alligators in Florida.
Yeah.
And there's none of that in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, but and there's no pigs either in Wisconsin.
True. Pigs tear up everything.
Well, and if you have pigs, you normally don't have deer, is what they tell me. So if pigs show up where you've got mock scrapes, you're not going to have deer there. So that, and I don't know that from any personal experience. That's only from the guys in Florida and Georgia and Louisiana. That's the things they've told me about it, that pigs are bad news.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, we're where we can, if you wanted to have another conversation to get deeper into this stuff, this is honestly a good spot to stop.
Yeah, and I'm about ready to close her down anyways. So, But yeah, uh, but yeah, I'll get with you whenever. I mean, we talk almost every day. I have questions, so if my viewers have questions, um, or want to try your product, how can they get a hold of you or the scrape doctor or that kind of stuff?
Anybody can feel free just to message me personally, James Holm on Facebook. Um, you can go to scrapedoctor.com to order all the products. My contact information is there. My phone number if people want to text message and ask questions or call. Any of that stuff, they can feel free to do that. So yeah, I mean, scrapedoctor.com is the easiest way to get the products. And there's a slew of discount codes out there.
Okay.
So too many for me to name here.
I know you did DGO10 for my subscribers.
Yep, for your subscribers, it's DGO10, and it's up and running. I just was looking at that stuff today. So
I'm dummy. I made an order a couple weeks ago. I don't know why I didn't use my own discount code.
yeah, you sure didn't. You better write that down somewhere so it reminds you.
Yeah. What was I gonna ask? I was gonna ask something else, and now I don't remember what it was.
You'll remember as soon as we're done.
I will. But yeah, there's all kinds of. So you just released a new product, the
Yep.
the Rope X, which
Yep,
is
the XL.
so I have a rope. So my rope's probably 2 foot long, and then he has the rope squared, which is 4 foot.
No, you've got the Juster rope, which is
Oh, okay.
8 inches.
Oh,
The
okay.
Juster rope squared is roughly 3 feet. The Juster rope XL that I just came out with is 4 feet. And the Poison Ivy is roughly 4 feet overall.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Is the Poison Ivy your best selling product so far?
No, actually, our Juster rope squared is our number one seller.
Gotcha.
That they seem to like that length of rope, and it's nice and stiff, so gives them something to really work and jab on.
All right, guys. So if you guys want to check out the Scrape Doctor products from scrapedoctor.com, I highly recommend it. I'm going to be running 4 mock scrapes on this acre-and-a-half property that I have right here at the top of the hill. But go over, use code GGO10. You guys can save 10% on your purchase. And James Holmes literally talks to me every single day. Any question I have, to me, it may sound dumb, but there's no dumb questions because I don't know. This is my first year running mock scrapes, so I'm learning. I'm actually going to pull my camera again in the next 2 days and check the progress on it and see how the deer have been hitting it. So hopefully, I got some pictures of them playing with the rope this time.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a learning process, it's a learning curve. So,
it
but
absolutely is.
but James, I want to thank you for joining me on this live stream, and I think I asked some good questions. Thanks to Chat GPT because I really didn't know what to ask, but
Yeah, well,
uh,
there you go.
um, but I think we've hit the basics of scrapes and what they are and how to properly set them up and things like that. So, thank you for joining me on this. You are my first guest on my live stream. So,
Excellent.
so
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and look forward to maybe doing a couple more of these.
yes, sir. And I will talk to you later.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yep.
All right, guys. So that was really fun. There was a lot of information here talking to James Holm from the Scrape Doctor. Like I said, I had a list of questions to go through, just the basics of mock scrapes. I learned a lot of things. I hope to have him on in the future and, get more into depth of like the science behind mock scrapes and deer behavior and all that kind of stuff. But I don't have much of a voice. But I do want to say hey to Raymond, Hey to Savage Air Gunners. Brian from R Ranch Air Gun Fun Channel. Looks like I had a fight with my razor. I haven't even shaved yet, dude. I haven't been feeling well. This is the first day. Excuse me. Um, this is the first day where I'm not coughing my head off 10,000 times. And I can breathe through my nose. So the amoxicillin's working. Hey, retired rambler. If you're still on here, my buddy Eric, or retired rambler. Um, I I tried to ask about the swamp land, where you hunt. So if you got edges of that swamp that's you got good deer trails through, maybe you could throw a mock scrape on there if you want to try mock scrapes. Um, things like that. So I hope you guys learned something. I'm feeling okayish. I got to jump on another live stream here. So it's now 8:30. So my buddy's already doing another live stream, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See y'all later.